Hey guys, it's Sarah, and today I want to do a little bit of a discussion video. I don't do discussions very often. I don't find a ton of topics super interesting for me to sit here and blab about, but this one I thought was pretty interesting, and it's something I've been thinking about quite a bit lately. So I want to talk today about the different formats that we read on. We are definitely living in a society where we are so fortunate to be able to have different options for reading. We can go to a bookstore, or we can go to a library and we can get a physical book to read. We can buy a tablet that has instant access to books with the touch of a finger or a couple touches of the finger, and you have a book instantly, whichever one that you want. We also have audiobooks where literally the book is being told to you in a very creative way. And I just wanted to talk about the three different, main ways that we're getting these books, and talk about kind of the pros and the cons, because I use all three of these formats to read. All right, so let's start off with the obvious and probably the most popular way to read books, which is just a physical book. You have a physical book in your hands. You can go to the bookstore and buy it. You can buy it on Amazon. You can trade it with people. You can go to the library. However it is that you get a physical book, you can pick it up and have it in your hands. So let's talk about some of the pros for physical books. Number one is holding it in your hands. I hear so often that people prefer having physical books because of, being able to hold it in your hands, being able to turn the pages, being able to see your progress if you have a bookmark in it. I put it in here just for, to show you, physical progress, and, looking and seeing that bookmark move is very, very satisfying for a lot of people. You also get the advantage of looking at a pretty cover. Every single time you look at the book, you can see the cover of it. And a lot of times, the graphic covers make people so happy. And it's, definitely aesthetic. It's more of an aesthetic thing than anything. Also, having full bookshelves is very satisfying to see. I love walking into someone's house and seeing a full bookshelf. I am immediately drawn to it, and I'm just scanning their shelves to see what's on there. I personally just love the look and the feel of a full bookshelf. I think it makes a room complete. Okay, let's talk about a couple of cons for physical books. Number one, and this is probably not going to be a con unless you have other options for reading or you've experienced other ways of reading, but you have to hold it. You have to hold it. You have to hold it open. You have to use two hands to hold it open. You have to turn the pages. You have to, have it open somehow, even if you're, trying to eat or you're trying to do something else, and you have to hold the book physically open. So there is that. Usually that doesn't bother a lot of people, but sometimes it does. So, I guess it could be considered a little bit of a con. Another con can be traveling with it or taking it with you on the go. I personally don't mind throwing a book in my purse. I don't care how big it is. If I'm going somewhere and I think I'm going to have some extra time that I can sit and read, I will throw whatever book I'm reading in my purse. Now, there's the potential of damage to your book by throwing it in a bag or throwing it in your car or whatever. There's always the potential of it getting ripped or torn or crushed or whatever. Now, there are these really cool things now called book sleeves, which I have one. I got this on Etsy from Taylor. Her shop is called Bookuzi, so I will leave her shop link down below. But she makes these book sleeves that you can put the books inside. And as you can see, this is going to fit really, really nicely, and it protects your book. So even if this rubs up against something, this is going to protect my book, and it's not going to be torn or, anything like that. So this is definitely a great thing that has become pretty popular lately, and there's all sorts of book sleeves that you can get online. Another con that can be something that can hinder, the way when you're traveling with it is if you have a big, huge book. Like, a lot of people would be turned off from throwing this in their bag or, traveling with this type of a book because it's so huge and it would take up a lot of room. And sometimes these books, this one isn't particularly heavy, but some of them can be pretty heavy, and, you're carrying it around and lugging it around. So that could also be a hindrance to people on whether or not they actually want to, take it with them or not. So just something to keep in mind. All right, let's talk about the next format, which is ebooks. This is my Paperwhite Kindle. I've had this for a very long time. I don't know what version this is, but I've had it for a while, so it's definitely not the newest version that's available. But definitely some of the pros to reading on an e-reader or any type of e-reader that you might have is that it's so easy to hold. This is teeny tiny. It's very thin, as you can see. It's no issue to hold it and to read. Very lightweight. You can take this anywhere. I almost always have this in my purse, and it's not going to get damaged. It's not going to get beat up as long as you have a cover on it. You can read on it without a cover, which I've seen people doing, and I cringe a little bit because I'm like, you need to protect your Kindle. What are you doing? But as long as you have a cover on it, you can throw it in your bag and it's not going to get messed up. You can also read on this at night without a light on. You don't need a light in order to see the book because it does have, it's not really backlit like a computer, so it's very easy on your eyes, but it is bright when you turn off the lights, and you can control the settings on here as well, so you can make it brighter or darker, whatever is more comfortable for your eyes. So I really, really like that as well. I do that a lot because my husband always goes to bed before me, and I always sit up and read while he's sleeping, and I can have the light off and he's not bothered by my Kindle light at all. So it's really convenient for us. Another good thing about the Kindle is that you can have thousands and thousands of books and it takes up zero room in your house. And that is a big issue for a lot of people. A lot of people don't have the room for, hundreds of bookshelves to hold thousands of books. But on here, you can have as many books as it can hold, and it takes up no room at all. And you can get books in seconds on this. You can easily shop from the device itself. You can also just shop on Amazon if you're online or something and have it sent to your Kindle, and you have books in an instant. And it's so many books are available in ebook form now. And I'm going to go ahead and say major majority of them. I don't think there's a whole lot that is not available through an ebook format now. And you can have them anytime. You could be sitting in Starbucks and think, I'd like to read The Wrath of the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. Boop, 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 boop. And there it is. And you can start reading instantly. And that's pretty amazing. Okay, let's talk about some cons with the ebook. You can get books in an instant, and it's amazing. And there goes your monthly budget. So there is that. It's very easy to spend money getting these books. And most of the time, the ebooks are cheaper than the physical books because you are getting a download versus a physical paper book. But a lot of times, these ebooks are also, $10 and $12. So yeah, a lot of times they are cheaper than that. It just depends. And sometimes they'll go on sale, like a normal book would go on sale sometimes, some of these go on sale too. So you can kind of shop around for deals and stuff. But there's been quite a few books that I've wanted and thought, oh, I'll just get it on my Kindle. Oh, it's $12.99. Nope, I'm just going to buy the physical book because it's only $1 more. So that type of thing you have to be a little bit careful of. But yeah, it can be very easy to go overboard with spending money on here. Another thing that I think people would consider a con is that you have to charge it. The battery does last pretty long on here. I can read for quite a while until I need to charge it again, but it is a piece of technology. It does need to be charged. So, it's a very low scale inconvenience, I think, because you have to charge your phone every day, right? So there is that, but I think people would consider that a little bit of a con. And lastly, I think a con for this would also be, this is a piece of technology. It can glitch, it can break, things can happen. It does need to be reset every so often. And yeah, so just something to keep in mind, but I have not had anything glitch to the point where it was a big problem for me and I just couldn't stand it. I was questioning what I was doing. But yeah, so I love reading on my Kindle and I think it's very convenient and I love it. All right, so the third format I want to talk about is audiobooks because I love listening to audiobooks and it's definitely a format I have been utilizing so much in the past couple of years. And some of my favorite experiences reading have been through audiobooks. Audiobooks are not for everybody. Some people can't handle it. Some people just don't enjoy the experience. And so it's totally a personal preference. I personally really enjoy it, so I did want to talk about it here. But it's just, yeah, you have to give it a try to see if you like it. So one of the biggest pros for me for audiobooks is that you can multitask. I listen to audiobooks when I'm at the gym. I listen to audiobooks while I'm driving in my car. I listen to them while I'm cleaning my house and doing dishes and getting ready in the mornings. I listen to audiobooks every chance that I can, because not only am I doing something I need to be doing and something's not getting put off because I'm sitting and reading, but it's helping me to get through those tasks as well, you know, especially driving and chores and stuff. Those stuff is so boring, but listening to an audiobook makes it fun, and it gets me motivated to actually do those things, because especially if I'm listening to a really good audiobook that I want to get to, I'm like, oh, I'll do my dishes and I can listen to my book and see what happens. And it kind of gets me motivated to do those things. Another thing I really like about audiobooks is that you can control the speed of how the narrator is talking. And when you first start it, it usually starts on, you know, normal speed. And when the narrators are reading these books, it's, you know, they have to talk slow because you're listening to it versus taking it in visually. So it takes you a little bit more time to process what's happening. And it's really just, you know, they have to go at a slower speed. And you can control how fast or slow they go. Sometimes you can even slow it down, which that would probably put me to sleep, because even the normal speed is a little bit too slow for me. I can listen to things a little bit faster. I usually listen to 1.5 or even 2 times the speed. And it goes faster, but it doesn't make them sound like a chipmunk. So you can, you know, listen to it without any issues, at least for me. It did take me a little bit to get to the point where I could get to 2 speed. And sometimes if I start a book, I have to listen to 1.5 first for a little bit, and then I can go up to 2 speed. You just have to get used to the cadence of the narrator's voice. You have to get used to the way that they talk and the voices that they do, so you can kind of follow it a little bit better. But I really like that. So you're able to get to them a little bit faster that way, but you're still able to take everything in. And one thing for me for audiobooks is I really feel that if it's a really good audiobook and it's a really good narrator, it can add to the story. It can make a book so much better just having that experience of it being told to you that way. And nowadays, a lot of celebrities are narrating audiobooks, so that's really cool. I have a version of Jane Eyre right now on my phone that is read by Thandie Newton, and I've heard it's really good. I listened to The Handmaid's Tale, which was read by Claire Danes, and that was really good. I listened to Ready Player One, that was read by Will Wheaton, which was amazing and one of my favorite audiobooks of all time. He did such a great job reading that book, and it really added to the experience for me. And there are also, you know, professional audiobook narrators who are really good at what they do. And you start hearing, you know, the same people more and more because they are telling the story in such a compelling way that they're getting, you know, more books to read. And it really just helps add to it. I have also listened to bad narrators. So there is that. You're going to probably start finding your favorites and kind of knowing what's good and what's not and what's adding to the story and what isn't, the more you to listen. But when you can find a really good one, it really just, for me, adds so much to it. So one of the cons for me definitely is if I get a narrator that is not doing a very good job and it's, you know, very monotone, and, you know, the female voice and the male voice sound exactly the same, and it's hard to follow who's talking at that point. And, you know, there are narrators like that, unfortunately. So I have definitely found what I prefer in a narrator, and I have some people that I have been listening, you know, to a few of the books that they're narrating and really like them. So it's definitely kind of a preference thing for them. And another con for audiobooks is you got to pay attention. You know, I have found myself zoning out a few times during some audiobooks. If I'm not paying complete attention, I have no idea what's going on or what they just said. So you do need to pay attention to a certain point. You can multitask, but there's, you know, I can't be listening to an audiobook and checking my email because I'm reading an email and trying to listen at the same time. Your brain can't handle both of those things. Also writing, if I have to write something down, I can't listen at the same time. Like your brain just does not differentiate those two things, and you're not able to take those two things in at the same time. So there is that. That's why I listen while I'm driving, because I don't have to really, think too much about that. And, working out, I'm usually walking on the treadmill. I can walk on a treadmill and listen, no problem. Dishes, getting ready, things like that. So just things that don't take a lot of brain power, I can definitely listen to an audiobook at the same time. But if you are doing things that require brain power, not so much. So those are my thoughts on different formats of reading, because I do personally read in all three of those formats. I actually usually try to have at least one physical book, one ebook, and one audiobook going at the same time always. So I'm usually always, have one of each of the three going, and that helps me to read a little bit more simultaneously. So I kind of dip in and out of all three formats at the same time. But let me know down below what your thoughts on these are. Let me know what your preferred format for reading is. Let me know if you use all these, or if you only use one or two, or if there's anything you want to give a try. Let me know that down below. I think my preferred format for reading is probably a physical book. In the end, I do enjoy holding it. I enjoy seeing it. I enjoy the feel of a book, definitely. But there are aspects of ebooks and audiobooks that I, enjoy a whole lot as well. So I would never give up any of them. It's just a different thing. And I enjoy taking in my books in those different ways. All right, that's it for me today. Let me know all your information down below, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.